COVID has killed more than 1 million people in the U.S. since the start of the pandemic. It's currently the third leading cause of death in the U.S. And yet, since the beginning, many have chosen to embrace misinformation about the virus and the vaccine. Raina Kay now has the story of one 20-year-old who has been missing for more than 2 years, ever since he succumbed to the teachings of a conspiracy theorist and sought what he thought would be an island paradise.
We were out of town. We came back from Chicago. He was gone.
Abigail and John Danian haven't seen their son Isaac since September of 2020. That's when they say he ran off to Hawaii to follow his so-called guru.
I've known about the end times for many years.
That guru, Mathew Mellow. He goes by the name Mordecai Eleazar on social media, including his YouTube channel, where he offers sermons about what he says is Satan's plan to destroy society, and false claims about the dangers of the COVID-19 vaccine, which he calls the mark of the beast.
Today, people don't even know what the mark of the beast is. Those who do still don't. They think it's a RFID chip or something of that manner.
Mello had posted this recruitment video online, encouraging men to join him and sail to the South Pacific. In it, he suggested society was doomed.
I'd like to extend an invitation. I'm basically the coordinator of this trip.
Back home in Grand Rapids, Michigan, 20-year-old Isaac Danian signed up. His parents say his mental health had worsened since the pandemic began, and that he'd mistakenly come to believe the vaccine was the government's way of controlling the population. Even the COVID test scared him. He'd been encouraging his parents to sell all their belongings and move to a bunker. At the time, they had no idea he'd been listening to the teachings of Mathew Mellow. Labor Day weekend 2020, Isaac left home without warning. He left behind this note for his younger siblings, warning them, do not get the vaccine or you won't make it to heaven. Author and journalist David Wollman investigated this case for the New York Times.
This guru, a clown, who was based in Hawaii at the time, he convinced them to fly to Hawaii and join him on this journey across a huge portion of the Pacific Ocean to find some COVID-free place where they could start again and escape Satan's grand plan.
Isaac called his parents on October 4th, 2020 from Hawaii to say he'd be off the grid for about 30 days. He would not say who he was with or where he was going.
He said it was better if he didn't, but he always said, I wish I could tell you.
This is one of the last text messages Isaac sent his mother, October 4th, 2020, a photo of a giant fish he'd caught. His family never heard from him again. They would learn later from sheriff's investigators that he'd connected with Mathew Mellow, who had arranged for a couple of boat captains to sail him and his recruits to the South Pacific, where COVID hadn't taken hold. Isaac and another man from Rochester, New York, named Shukri Abdul Rashad, would go in Captain Mike Schmidt's boat, while Mello left days later in another boat.
They actually had a really good time, these two. We caught a lot of fish.
The trip took a dark turn when, after almost 2 months at sea, Captain Schmidt approached the island of Wallis, a French territory between Hawaii and New Zealand. Schmidt says when he alerted local authorities about their arrival, Isaac and Abdul Rashad panicked about having to take a COVID test to enter. He says they did the unthinkable and suddenly jumped overboard.
They were afraid of taking a COVID test as it being the mark of the beast. Now, they had gotten involved with the guru. They were convinced that for sure that the PCR test had nefarious things inside, along with the vaccine. And the vaccine wasn't even really out.
Schmidt says he called Wallis Island authorities for help and flagged down a fishing boat to search. He believes the men had a plan to slip into oblivion with Mello, giving up all ties to the United States.
They had really been led astray by this Instagram era wannabe prophet guru who, for some strange reason, just spoke in just the right way and manner and with the right diction to draw these two young men in. It was really this witch's brew of COVID conspiracy theory meets end times prophecy meets kind of DIY Christian fundamentalism. meets a lot of stress and turmoil regarding the 2020 election.
Mellow didn't respond to our repeated requests for comment. According to this French police report, Captain Schmidt was interrogated, and authorities confiscated his 9mm pistol, laptop, and Garmin GPS device from the boat. Schmidt was eventually cleared in that investigation.
I never did anything to harm these guys, ever.
Dive teams searched the area for the men but found nothing. Isaac's parents filed this missing person report with the Kent County Sheriff's Department in Michigan and have appealed to the State Department and French authorities for help. But years later, they are no closer to finding their son.
We do have hope he's alive because there hasn't been any evidence to prove otherwise. It's possible that he wanted to go off the grid and he's in a manic state. It's possible that he was unwillingly kidnapped. It is possible that he drowned. If somebody said to you, your child probably died, would you just accept that and move on? It's not something that we can do.
Randy Kay, CNN.